Welcome to April 25th today, Saturday morning, and today we're ending our study on 2 Samuel, and we're going to be looking at chapters 23 and 24, and then also Luke 19. As we end 2 Samuel, we're hearing David kind of reflect and do a summary. Matter of fact, he even brings up his father Jesse, and what I'm seeing out of this is he's not forgetting where he came from, his simple beginnings. I mean, we remember Samuel when he went to Jesse to look at his sons at the time. All of them were taken before Samuel, except for David, and he even said, isn't there any more sons? And Jesse said, yeah, the scrawny little kid that's taking care of the sheep. And again, David was chosen by God, and he's just evaluating, where he came from and all those kind of things, and then we see that he's kind of taken back a little bit towards the end of the 2 Samuel here. These are his last words, it says, and not that he breathed his last breath at that point, but this was kind of his final stages before his end of his throne. He only lived to be 70 years old. And even in today's world, that's not that long. But David, if you looked at his life, I mean, he accumulated a lot of different things. He probably lived, 3 lives, with all the things that were packed into it. And I know a number of people like that, that I've seen over the years that they're not that old when they've even passed, but you look at their life and you think, man, they've just been around forever and done so much. And that's kind of David, and again we get to the end of the text here, and it really explains David again, after sinning, going through some things, even seeing pestilence, hit his community. 70,000 people ended up dying because of sinful acts, and I mean, can we imagine, and we're seeing that even today. I mean, we're looking at the number of people that died with the coronavirus. Back then, can you imagine just waking up one morning and finding out 70,000 people died that day? But David, he ends up, again, honoring God, and his heart was definitely after God's own heart. So that's where David is and who he was. Even throughout Scripture, it references the house of David, and how deep and important that David was, as far as that relationship between him and God. So we just look at somebody who is constantly going after the heart of God, over and over and over again. And really that leads into the Luke 19 really good with Zacchaeus. That's one of the all-time favorite stories for me. I know even myself, I put myself as Zacchaeus, in my BC days, before Christ, of one who's just looking and observing, and then how much of an impact that Jesus had on his life. Here he is sitting up in a sycamore tree, and Jesus recognizes him and sees him. And he had other things going on. He had other things happening in his life, but here he pointed out Zacchaeus. He wanted to go dine with him, and Zacchaeus changes his life and turns it around. So for me, that's just a huge part of things. And then we hear the triumphal entry, and again, Jesus proclaiming, that my house is not going to be a house of robbers, but a house of prayer. And for me, we need to look at, our our own homes. Do we have a home of prayer rather than of deceitfulness? And again, we can look back to David and his life, and even when things failed and fell, David kept going back to God, and that's what we need to do. Even when things, go awry in our life, and some of the things happen in us, we need to constantly go back to Jesus and make that appeal to God. Please forgive me. We are sinners, and we do need that living grace that Jesus gives us. So just a good ending to 2 Samuel. We'll be picking up in Kings tomorrow. I just encourage you to, again, join us on Sunday and be a part of what we're doing, at least online right now. And as we develop into transitioning back into the church, being able to gather, I just pray you come and join us if you're looking for a church. This is a different season. Things are going to look different, but again, we have the same God of yesterday, of today, and tomorrow. So God bless you all. Have a great day, and I will see you Sunday morning.